what's your optimism as far as Owen playing tomorrow and Risto? Owen Tip.
Tip is in and Risto's in.
Oh, they're both in.
Yes.
So,
Do you know who's coming out, John?
Uh,
JVR for.
Yeah, obviously James is hurt, and Laz has a family situation, so he won't be in. Yeah,
So you go 7D.
7D.
John, it looked like during a portion of practice you were a little frustrated with one of the drills. Can you maybe take us into what you didn't like that you were seeing?
No.
Okay. Did it improve after you addressed the team, or?
Yes.
John, I was obviously wasn't here for the waiver claim for Sedlak, but you mentioned even dating back to this summer that one of the things that you were looking forward to with Cam Atkinson was kind of having him in the room to sort of, if guys wanted to talk to him about, the way you coach, your expectations, things like that, that it was going to be helpful for him to be there. Obviously, Cam's been battling injury. Not that he's not here, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. It was part of the idea of claiming Lucas was sort of to have a guy like that in the room with Cam's.
No. It was. I think that Chuck had told me he was interested in him even before I was signed on, and so it really had nothing to do with that. He came to me with the name. I know him well. He did some really good things for us in his position in that third, fourth line position, wing center. And I think it's a need of ours right now because I don't know what's going to happen with Coots. I don't know what's going to happen with Cam. He did improve, didn't score much with us, but when he went over to the KHL, ended up putting up some numbers. So my question, Chuck, was, can he skate? Can he still skate? Because it's a big part of his game. And even talking to Jonesy, who had saw him play, he was covering a game, I guess, for TNT. Does Jonesy do TNT? Yeah. I talked to those guys, Eddie Olczyk, and they saw him play, and we just got some information about his legs, and he can still skate, and you can still see that. So I had interest because I think he can kill penalties, and I think he can play both positions, center and wing. Nothing to do with him being a conduit for me.
You said you wanted to look at him a little bit more to see how, to evaluate his game. What have you thought so far?
Who, Sedzi?
Yeah.
You got to give me another week or so. He'll play. Tomorrow with 11 forwards, he could be bounced all over the place. But I want to see him on wing too. He'll probably play a little wing tomorrow. So I think he skated well. He's had some scoring chances, and he's familiar with Shazi and the penalty kill. That's what I want him. That's a big evaluation for me. Can he be one of those guys? And so that's going to take a little bit more time to give you a good answer.
John, what about his attitude and his energy that he brings outside of, the technical aspects?
Sedzi?
Yeah.
He never has a bad day.
I know.
It kind of pisses you off sometimes because he's just always. It seems like he always has great days. He's been a great team. What I know of him and the years I coached him, great teammate. Full of energy, very coachable. I like the guy personally. Just in the years I've coached him, he's just a good man, and he was an effective player. And I think not to give you a full, I think he's had some effective minutes for us since he started with us here. But as far as how he'll be in the room and how he carries himself, he's just a good person.
Is it important to have guys who, because obviously, everybody on some level knows that it's a privilege to play in the NHL, but is it important to have guys in the room who just very clearly love playing hockey and make it obvious that they love it?
Yeah, and you'd be surprised the percentage sometimes of just having hockey players that in today's sport. I think some sometimes thinks it's a chore, which is mind-boggling to me. But and I think we got a bunch of them down there. As I'm getting to know them, I think we got a bunch of hockey players. There are some that I'm, is it just too much? I just don't know how you can enjoy playing a sport when you see all the other shit going on in the world and you're playing a sport. You're a performer, You get paid a ton of money. I don't know how you can't enjoy coming to the rink each and every day. I don't think we have a big problem with that. Some guys I'm not so sure, but in general, it's always nice just to be around hockey players that just love playing. And I'll tell you, I'm not trying to be negative, but this sport here, that we have good people in our game. We have really good people in our game. So there's not too many of those guys that you have to worry about.
I have to ask you a weekly baseball question. I know you're probably upset that the Yankees are out, but what's your prediction on the World Series?
I have no prediction, Sam. I told you I don't predict as a coach or other sports either.
Have you followed the games at all? Or?
Yeah, playoff baseball. Yeah, I'm a Phillies fan. I'm no longer a Yankees fan. I'm a Phillies fan, and it's a funny. You're talking about that. I walked into the building the other night prior to our game, and that's when who was the guy who hit the first home run? I think it was the third baseman. No, or
Reese Hoskins, I think.
yeah. It was shaking over. I got out of my vehicle, and it just happened over in that building, and it was shaking over where I was, and that was pretty cool. I've said to you guys all, that's what I love about being here is just that complex over there, and all the sports, all the buildings being there is so cool. And to listen to the noise during that game, and I just happened to get out when he hit that home run because I walked in and saw the replay, and because I was wondering what happened, and it was pretty cool.
You indicated the other day that you're moving Cates over to the wing, maybe to get him a little bit.
We're talking baseball. We're talking hockey phone. We're talking about World Series.
Let me rephrase that.
Go ahead. I'll answer your question, please. Sam, you told me you weren't going to use that thing today. Go ahead. I'll answer your question.
You indicated that you're moving the Cates over to the wing to maybe get him going a little bit offensively. Today he said that one of the reasons he feels more comfortable over there is because the defensive responsibility is a little bit different. Is that part of what?
Absolutely. It's a huge part of what I'm doing because the center ice position is kind of in a sport when you don't want the players to think, you have to think a little bit as a center iceman. You have to think as a defenseman. It's crazy because it's such a bang sport, and you just go with your gut and your instincts as a hockey player. But there's a lot of reads that come into the center ice position in the two defenseman spots. So, yeah, and that's I just think he's dipped a little bit, and I've given him a lot of minutes for a young guy, put him in a lot of different pressure situations. I want him to be a little selfish now. I think he needs to get his game going again, and I want to give him a chance in the wing where he can just go play.
John, we talked. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah,
of course.
going back to Ristolainen, I guess what has it done for the team as a whole to get him back in practice and knowing that he's in the lineup? I guess how does that kind of affect their mentality or their approach?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow. I mean, he's been here. He's a veteran guy. What effect it has in practice, I don't know. I think we're going to find out what effect it is when the game starts. He brings a little bit of a presence, a physical presence. I think that always helps a club. So we'll find out when we start playing tomorrow, when he starts playing.
What are you hoping that he brings?
Yeah, I don't want him to try to do too much. He's been off a while here. It's going to be a little weird with 7D, how Shawzy handles the bench in that situation. We'll see how the game goes, but I just want him to keep it simple. I want him to use his strengths. We need a big man back there. It's a really good team we're playing against, and I think one of the weaknesses of our team right now is, as I've said to you guys many times, is stopping plays offensively. I'm hoping he can do that with his big body and just stop things so we can get our coverages set. And just not going to fill him with a bunch of information. He knows how to play the game. I just want him to headman the puck and just simplify his game and allow him to get his feet wet into the regular season here.
We talked about his kind of in-your-face style. Some people feel like maybe that's not in the game as much anymore, but Scott Lawton said he thinks there needs to be more of it.
Oh, God, yeah.
I was going to say, do you appreciate that in-your-face type
Yeah,
of defense?
yeah. I think that's how you have to play defense is stiff and hard and at you. There's just too much talent in this league. And it's a problem we have. We mirror. We watch them play. We think we have them because they're on the outside, but there's so much things going on behind that play with people cutting and darting, and talented people find people. And the longer they have the puck and it's not stopped, it's better for the other guys without the puck to get away from their check. It gives them more of an opportunity. That's why we want to stop it as quickly as possible. So that's the way we play defense. We play a layered defense, but it starts with our initial contact on the puck.
Chuck just announced that he acquired a forward from Chicago, minor league forward, Barrett. Did he talk to you about, what
No.
he brings or anything? Okay.
No, I have not talked to him at all about it. Just got off the ice.
John, I've asked you a lot about like the attitude and the mindset of this team. Now we're 2 weeks into the season. Last year, I know you weren't here, but even going down a goal, it was like the game was already over, even if there was like 50 minutes left to play. This year, there's a lot of battle back. These players have rallied. What have you seen from your perspective on the bench that's contributed to that? I know you might not be able to speak to the shift, but
Yeah.
just what are you seeing that is allowing them to like dig deep and rally?
Yeah, I don't think they've panicked. I think they've stayed within the game. I think our goaltender has kept us in some games to allow ourselves to get back into it, which is very important. But as far as the attitude on the bench, I think it's been a good bench in not getting into a panic and then trying to do way too much and it cause another mistake that ends up in your net. So that's been good. I'll get on the flip side of that now. Sometimes I like to see our team, like I thought in the San Jose game, I thought maybe we should have panicked and started giving a little bit more and not playing out of ourselves, but you can't accept where we were going. So there's a fine line there of staying calm and stay with it if you think you're playing well. Sometimes you don't have to be as calm when you don't think you're playing well. So that's kind of the two sides of it for me. But during the games when we were down, I thought some of the minutes we were playing really well. And I think the players felt that too, and you can hear the chatter on the bench that way. So I think that's so important, is to understand where the game is. And it's a huge part of coaching. If the players don't understand where it is, we have to bring it to their attention. But for the most part, early on in the season, I think the guys know where they're at within the game. That's a good sign. And I do think it's a good sign that we ended up getting some success, too, in coming back. Because then I think it starts being more of a belief that we can come back. Everybody says this to me, that last year it just didn't happen. It's hard to believe you can do it because it happens quite a bit during the league, during the season. It's such a long year. It's hard to grab onto something if you haven't been able to do it successfully. It's happened early. Hopefully we can use that to our benefit later.
One of the things that you said after the game was, this was a bad game, but let's not forget about all the good stuff, that we've done prior to this. It feels like let's just throw that in the trash and focus on, all the good things that we've done. Is that your mentality, your approach to this?
In this situation, we didn't dissect the game too much. We did some tape work today on Rocky had a session today with them just on some offensive concepts and trying to help them, just to give them kind of maybe a little bit of a blueprint offensively. You got to be really careful with the offensive part, because I think offense it's just it's instinctive, and you got to allow them to play. But Rocky was giving them some stuff as far as how to manufacture some offense, and I think that's something that was, I think we had probably, I can't remember the sheet, I think we probably had 11 or 12 scoring chances in that game, and not a lot are grade A's. So that was a concern that we wanted to try to help them with, but certainly not breaking it down and this, that, the other thing about it. We moved by it, but also taught a little bit off of it. But it may be different in other situations. This one here, we touched it and then kind of left it alone, if that will answer your question. Okay.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.